Life Audio.
The Bible Study Podcast, episode 861. Today, the Bible Study Podcast continues on a study of the book of Psalms with the next 3 of the 15 Songs of Ascents. Welcome to the Bible Study Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Christensen. Again, we're in this section here with 15 Psalms of Ascents, the songs that were written, as I understand it, for pilgrims going up to Jerusalem, although there's a little controversy about that. That's the way that I'm going to continue to describe them. We'll start with Psalm 123 today, but first a word from this sponsor. Psalm 123, a Song of Ascents. So this one only has 4 verses. You can't have been going very far, so maybe you would sing it over and over again if this is the song you're singing as you're making a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. I lift up my eyes to you who sit enthroned in heaven. As the eyes of slaves look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of a female slave look to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God till he shows us his mercy. Have mercy on us, Lord, have mercy on us, for we have endured no end of contempt. We have endured no end of ridicule from this arrogant, of contempt from the proud. And so we have this song that people are singing as they're going up to Jerusalem to worship, which again is the primary understanding of what these songs of ascents are about. And this song is a song of someone who is going up and is looking for mercy. They're looking for mercy. Mercy, again, is when we don't get the punishment we deserve. And so this is a more humble psalm here, that I am a slave. I lift up my eyes to you who sit enthroned in heaven, as the eyes of slaves looked to the hand of their master, as the eyes of the female slave look to the hand of her mistress. So our eyes look to the Lord our God till he shows us mercy. I think about this would be an interesting thing to have in our communion services, for instance. Before we go up, we have a confession of sins and an absolution of sins, and then we go and have communion to remember our communion, our relationship with God. This is that sort of thing. Before I'm going up to worship here, I'm thinking about the things that are getting in the way of my relationship with God, and I'm asking for mercy. I'm asking for forgiveness. Have mercy on us, Lord, have mercy on us, for we have endured no end of contempt. We have endured no end of ridicule from the arrogant, of contempt from the proud. That's interesting. There's one thing about, I need mercy because I've done wrong, but I am contemptible. That people who are proud and people who are arrogant are looking at me and are thinking less of me because of what I have done. And that is an interesting thing. If we do things that are contemptible, then we might in fact be objects of contempt. So that's one thing that we need to think about, is if people are treating us that way, maybe that is a sign that we have stepped in the wrong direction. Or there's something else going on here, and we don't really have the full story in these 4 verses. But what the problem is of the psalmist and why they are feeling that they have receiving contempt. Notice the contempt from the arrogant and the proud, but we've endured no end of contempt. And that first part sounds to me like because we've done something that people are aware of, and they never will look at us the same again. And it's tough for those of us who are religious. It can easily be that when someone else screws up, that we use that as a method to say that I'm better than them. We may not say that out loud. We may not even think it to ourselves, but that idea of looking down on someone is saying it nonetheless. So it's careful. We need to be careful not to be in the arrogant and the proud that this verse talks about. Psalm 124, we're going to do 3 psalms today, a song of ascents of David. If the Lord had not been on our side, let Israel say, if the Lord had not been on our side, when people attacked us, they would have swallowed us alive when their anger flared against us. The flood would have engulfed us, the torrent would have swept over us, the raging waters would have swept us away. Praise be to the Lord, who has not let us be torn by their teeth, We have escaped like a bird from the fowler's snare. The snare has been broken, and we have escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And this is a song that we can think about in terms of if God had not been on our side. But let's look at it historically first. David is saying something that is just true, which is if God had not been with the nation of Israel, that relatively small nation in the midst of other nations, some of them small and some of them great, then they could easily have been destroyed. We see times that God took his protection away from them and they were overcome. And so David says, if the Lord had not been our side, let Israel say, and then repeats there, this indication here that this was a song. If the Lord had not been on our side, when people attacked us, they would have swallowed us alive. When their anger flared against us, the flood would have engulfed us. The torrent would have swept over us. The raging waters would have swept us away. And I like this analogy here to this terrible flood, this unrelenting, unstoppable force, except that it didn't happen because God was there. And God is that immovable object that got in the way of that would have destroyed us. Praise be to God who has not let us be torn by their teeth. We have escaped like a bird from the fowler's snare. The fowler's snare, somebody goes out to catch birds in a snare, and that Israel has been Israel found its way out of the fowler's snare and was able to fly and be free. That be torn by their teeth, a rather vicious kind of idea here. And we have escaped, our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And it was very, very important for Israel to remember that they were a weak nation without God and a strong nation with God, and that their help came from God. And it was important to remember that, because every time they forgot that, then something bad would happen and they would find themselves in the fowler's snare, if you will. I think it's important for us to remember that there is a God who loves us, who cares for us, who is powerful, and to take comfort in that. And finally, our sixth song of ascents, the third one we'll do this week. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forevermore. The scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteous, for then the righteous might use their hands to do evil. Lord, do good to those who are good, to those who are upright in heart. But those who turn to crooked ways, the Lord will banish with the evildoers. Peace be on Israel. And again, interesting, this is a song of ascents, so it's a song that we're singing as we're marching, as we're walking, hiking up to Jerusalem to worship. And so it's easy to see why Mount Zion might be on the lips and the minds of those who are doing this, but Israel might be. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. So you're walking towards Mount Zion, towards Jerusalem, and you're thinking that if I trust in God, I'm going to be like this place that won't be shaken. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forever. And so they're using this experience here of walking through the mountains and taking the paths to Jerusalem and thinking about how God surrounds and protects and loves the people of his city, how God loves his people. The scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteous, for then the righteous might use their hands to do evil. And so I wonder here if this is written in a time period when the scepter of the wicked are over the land, right? When the people of Israel are under the thumb of the Greeks or the Romans or the Assyrians or the Egyptians or the Babylonians or the Persians, as they were at various times. And it says the scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteousness. I can look to a day when Israel is free again. For then the righteous might use their hands to do evil. Because if we are under the influence of those who are unrighteous, we ourselves might become unrighteous. Leadership, as we've said many, many times in this podcast is important because it can influence us. We see that in the books of the Kings, especially in 1st and 2nd Samuel. We see how a good king can lead the people in the right direction, a bad king in the wrong direction. And the same is true with our leaders today. If we trust in our leaders, they better be good leaders, because otherwise they will lead us and lead our hearts in the wrong direction. Lord, do good to those who are good, to those who are upright in heart. But to those who turn to crooked ways, the Lord will banish with evildoers. Peace be on Israel. That seems like a very simple prayer. Do good to those who are good, who are upright in heart. And I think about upright in heart. In the New Testament, we have that measure of that the people of God will be recognized by their fruit. We can't see what their heart is, but we can see what comes out of it. Is what comes out of it love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, long-suffering, and self-control. And those are indications that the heart is good and that the heart is right. With that, we're going to end this episode of the Bible Study Podcast. If you have any questions, send an email to host@thebiblestudypodcast.com, or better yet, leave a comment on this episode at thebiblestudypodcast.com. And thanks so much for listening. I want to take just a second to thank the team at Life Audio for their partnership with us on this podcast. If you go to lifeaudio.com, you'll find dozens of other faith-centered podcasts in their network. They've got shows about prayer, Bible study, parenting, and more.
A powerful prayer life does not require hiking a mountain to be able to hear from God. God can meet us right in the middle of our busy lives to help, guide, and speak to us through prayer. I'm Christina Patterson, host of the Teach Us to Pray podcast, providing practical teaching and encouragement on how you can make prayer a natural and consistent part of your everyday life. I promise it won't require hiking a mountain, but you just might develop the faith to move one. Listen and subscribe at lifeaudio.com.